Hi there, I'm Bobby T, your online video store clerk, and welcome to my show of Viewin' and Reviewin', where I pull older movies off the shelf, watch them, and let you know if I believe they're worth your time to watch or not. I'll be searching through my VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray collection to find titles that I think may be interesting to review. Some will be mainstream, but there may be some obscure titles. In today's episode, I will be reviewing 1989's Let It Ride, not Lucky Numbers, just Let It Ride, directed by Joe Pytka and starring Richard Dreyfuss, Teri Garr, David Johansen, and a whole slew of great character actors throughout the story. Let me read you the DVD cover. Jay Trotter has waited a lifetime for this day. He's got a hot tip on a horse everyone thinks is ready for the glue factory. But, as track aficionados say, even when you know, you never know. One thing you can be sure of is that with Richard Dreyfuss, David Johansen, Teri Garr, and more, this is a winning comedy. So drop in the disc and let it ride. Its characters give new meaning to the odds, and its heart will touch everyone who's wondered, if every dog has his day, why can't every person have one? Well, I gotta say, that's a pretty uninspiring DVD cover, but then again, look at it. So, but this is a fun movie. This is one of my favorite forgotten comedies from the late 80s. It has a wonderful cast of character actors who perfectly back up the true star of the film, which is Richard Dreyfuss, who plays Trotter, who pulls out all the stops in his comic repertoire throughout this little film. The movie starts slow, then builds up steam, and doesn't let up until the exciting climax that mirrors the real-life feeling of betting on a horse race. The story of a down-and-out loser who has just sworn off gambling, boozing, and is returning to his estranged wife on the exact day his life changes with a tip on a horse that literally changes his fortunes for the better, is told in such a funny way. Richard Dreyfuss infuses humor, desperation, and good luck into a comic transformation from lovable sap to the luckiest man walking within the matter of 9 horse races during the day. The joy I get from watching this is all the interactions with the minor characters throughout the day. The loony character, played by Johansen, is the perpetual failure as the best friend who can't catch a break, even though it kicks him square in the teeth. When Trotter wins on the sure thing bet on the opening, then asks Looney, who didn't bet the sure thing, who he likes in the next race, then promptly scratches that horse off as a failure right in front of the guy. I mean, it makes my son and I laugh out loud, even though I have watched this movie over a dozen times. The rest of the interactions, from the dive bar across the street, standing trackside during the race, the betting window with the hilarious Robbie Cochran, or even at the upper-class jockey club, were treated to a feast of quirky characters that not only keep the action moving, but creates new ways for Trotter to marvel at the luckiest day of his life. Now, this movie was forgotten because its target audience was the exact people who bypassed the movie theater and head straight for the racetrack. What a shame. This movie deserves a place in our comedy landscape for the charm, simplicity, and fun it creates along the way, as Dreyfuss breathes life into a loser who realizes, while it's happening, what it feels like to hit a winning streak and enjoy the ride the entire time. So, my overall report card looks like this. Does it stand the test of time? This is an easy A, you bet. Horse racing doesn't change, except in the very rare occasions of a pandemic. Horses are still bought and sold for millions of dollars. Women still wear the big hats to the Kentucky Derby, and millionaire owners and penniless schmoes like Richard Dreyfuss still bet on the races every single weekend, and there are thrown horse races. Sorry. Story. I'll give it a B. The characters are well written. Zingers fly left and right. The structure of the plot started slow and gained momentum all the way to the frantic end, just like a real horse race. I think it was a very solid writing effort. The cast is a total A. Plain and simple. This is an all-star cast, even for the small parts. It's full of character actors that made you believe every one of these people was someone you meet at a racetrack. Inspired casting from top to bottom. Cinematography was decent for a late 80s Florida racetrack. I'd give it a C. Not because it was bad, but just because it wasn't anything special. Passable would be a better grade. It's got sun, it's got horses, and it's got betting windows. It won't be Lawrence of Arabia. The music was repetitive, but fitting. I give it a C, bordering on a C+. They way overplayed "I Got a Horse Right Here" from Guys and Dolls way too much. But the rest of the soundtrack was still cute, and it fit the atmosphere perfectly. So overall, this movie is a solid B. I know there's a lot of average scores above, but as a whole, This movie will make you laugh and stand up and cheer in the end, which is what I expect when I watch a movie about horse racing. This is pure entertainment. It's a hidden gem that is worth rediscovering. So speaking of horse racing movies, let me recommend some other comedy options for you. A Day at the Races with the Marx Brothers. Okay, merging the manic energy of the Marx Brothers into the stodgy world of horse racing is all you need to know about this classic comedy. The Lemon Drop Kid with Bob Hope as a penny ante swindler that needs to come up with $10,000 he owes to a gangster before Christmas, so he goes into comic overdrive to scam anyone out of the money. And let me make a non-recommendation of a comedy in the same vein as Let It Ride. The Long Shot with Tim Conway and Harvey Korman is the exact opposite of this film, and most definitely does not stand the test of time, which broke my heart because I love those actors. But this is a bunch of silly saps that try way too hard to be funny in a story that just isn't worth the star power they have acting in it. Let It Ride is a comedy classic. There's a reason it is so hard to find on DVD, besides the fact it still has not been released on Blu-ray, which is a shame. Not because it was in limited release on DVD, it's because the people who own the out-of-print DVDs never want to part with them. It's fairly pricey on Amazon, but if you make a Google search, you may be rewarded with a cheaper version. Just make sure it isn't a bootleg. This movie is a joy. Let it ride indeed. Well, that's it for Let It Ride. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click the like button below. If you want to keep up to date on my future reviews, please click on the subscribe button below. If you want to purchase Let It Ride on DVD, if you can, or you wish to purchase any of the other titles I've mentioned below, please follow the Amazon links below and I'll get you a small residual if you're so inclined. I guess I'll get the residual. Sorry, not you. If you have any suggestions for movies you'd like me to review, please leave a comment below and I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be sure to help others in need, even if you get nothing in return. Have a great week.